So, hello and welcome to episode 200 of the TEW 2020 Challenge Run. Fucking 200 episodes of this shit. I mean, I wouldn't keep doing it if people didn't keep watching it, so it's fine. But we're here, and we mark the 200th episode in a big, big way because we've got the 2021 Survivor Series pay-per-view, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, all a part of this big show here tonight. I've just realised now it still says Priest and Murphy are the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. That's not correct. It's AJ Styles and Omos. Champions of all three brands. Superstars of all three brands. Stranded 24/7 Islanders of all three brands. Gather today to witness and celebrate 25 years of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And I've heard rumours that he's in the building tonight. So we'll have to see what happens. Without any further ado, I'm looking at last year's show, and it's a hell of a lot fucking different. Like, a year in real WWE is like fucking nothing. But a year in Challenge Run is like mental. Like, this time last year was Team Raw with Charlotte, Asuka, Sonya, Tony, and Ruby, and they beat Bayley, Dakota, Alexa, Ember, and Shayna. Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin were the world champions. Usos and New Day, yeah, fair enough. Otis was the Intercontinental champion. Bobby Lashley was the United States champion. Kyrie Neo defeated Trish Stratus and Lita. Hey, remember when they were the women's tag team champions for a month? I barely do. Sasha Banks beat Liv in a champion v champion match. Liv Morgan was the Raw Women's champion, but with Sasha, more things changed more than they stayed the same. Roman Reigns, Keith Lee, Angel Garza, AJ Styles, and Sami Zayn was Team SmackDown. None of them are on Team SmackDown tonight. Only one of them is actually in the 5v5v5, and that's Keith. And they beat Team Raw, which was Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, Andrade, Jeff Hardy, and Elias. John Cena and Shane McMahon, of course, was best in the world versus best in the world. Then we had the big Church of Rollins match against the Raw Avengers and Aleister Black and The Undertaker. We were celebrating 30 years of The Undertaker last year, 25 of The Rock this year. I've babbled. Without any further ado, let's jump straight into the show.
Call me in the morning to apologize. Every little lie gives me butterflies.
In case it didn't become evident by the intro for this, I'm excited for this show. This is like a lot of stuff that's going to carry the series for the rest of the season up until Mania is going to be planted on this show. And it's going to be fucking fun. But anyway, we start with the Battle Royal. This doesn't count towards the draft picks and winning brand and all that shit. It's just a Battle Royal to showcase the tag divisions of each three brands, and the winning team gets a tag title shot for their brand's championships. And it features Angelo Dawkins, Bobby Fish, Brutus Creed, Coach Thatcher, Dio Madden, Dominic Mysterio, Drake Chambers, Eric, Flash Morgan Webster, Isaiah Scott, Ivar, Joaquin Wilde, Julius Creed, Kofi Kingston, Kyle O'Reilly, Mansoor, Mark Andrews, Marshall Von Erich, Montez Ford, Nash Carter, Nathan Kelly, Otis, Raul Mendoza, Rey Mysterio, Rick Boogs, Voss Von Erich, Santos Escobar, Shinsuke Nakamura, Wesley, and Xavier Woods. And in the end it is Otis who picks up the win for him and Coach Thatcher of Alpha Academy. For the Academy, they have a future Raw Tag Team Championship match at their disposal. He last eliminates Montez Ford, the Final Four of Wesley of MSK, and Nakamura of Nakamura and Boogs, and Montez Ford of the Street Profits. And Otis gets the dub for the Alpha Academy on the kickoff show. We then get the big intro video featuring the two champion triple threat matches and, of course, The Rock. No egg in sight, unfortunately. I'd have loved to have booked the egg, because it's fucking goofy and silly, but I'm doing 24/7 Island. That's basically the same thing. And we kick off the first match of the night. In-game, it's a 3v3v3, but in canon, it's a 5v5v5. I didn't click next segment, apparently. We start with the entrance of Team SmackDown. Captain Bianca Belair, Sonya Deville, Dakota Kai, Candice LeRae, and Bayley. Then Team NXT comes out. Grace Parker, the captain, Anna Jay, Kelsey Cook, Mandy Rose, and Gigi Dolan with JC Jane, obviously. She's not in the match, she's just accompanying them. And then finally, Team Raw. The gaggle of misfits that is Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, Captain Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, and Asuka. And again, the game says this is a 3v3v3 elimination match, but it's not. It's in my head, it's a 5v5v5. We'll just let the game do its own thing. But I have the order of elimination at my disposal here. And I'm just laughing at what the game did. The game eliminated, like, most of the NXT people first. Because of, obviously. So, we start off with 5 on each team, obviously. And the first to go from NXT is Gigi Dolan. She gets eliminated by Sonya Deville by submission or whatever, something. And so NXT's down 5-5-4, but they then get one back when their captain, Grace Parker, hoists Dakota Kai up onto her shoulders and hits the fall from Grace to level things up with SmackDown, but Raw is still ahead with 5 members of their team. Next to be eliminated, we've got Kairi Sane, Mandy Rose, and we'll say Bayley going at it, but the SmackDown woman doesn't really matter. All that matters is that Kairi nails the big insane elbow onto Mandy and eliminates Mandy Rose, so we're at Raw at 5, 4 for SmackDown, and 3 for NXT. Then Kairi's in the ring, obviously trying to regain back to her feet and get her bearings back. When Candice LeRae, bang, Wicked Stepsister, whatever Babyface Candice does, I guess, since she's face now. To eliminate Kairi Sane. So it's 4 for Raw, 4 for SmackDown, 3 for NXT. Charlotte Flair's then in the ring, and she's like, look at me go, watch me clean this house up, woo. This is my house, woo. And she's dominating Kelsey Cook, just tossing her around. And Rhea's sarcastically on the apron going, good job, good job. And Charlotte's like, are you mocking me? And Rhea's like, I'm not mocking you, bitch. Now as your captain, go back to fucking work. And Charlotte's like, well, fuck you, bitch. And then tries to take a swing at Rhea on the apron. But Rhea ducks and shoves Charlotte back. But Charlotte gets shoved back into a roll-up by Kelsey Cook. 1, 2, 3. The Queen has been eliminated by the 19-year-old rookie. And obviously this pisses Charlotte the fuck off. She's like, no, this is not happening, woo. I am the goddamn Queen. Boots to Kelsey Cook. Boots whoever the legal SmackDown woman is. And drags Rhea in. Rhea enters herself into the match. And she's like, yeah, go on. Get to the back, bitch. You're out. Bang. Boot to Rhea. Drags Rhea to the outside. Throws her against the steps. Smashes her against the steps and gets chairs and starts whipping into Rhea. And the referees come out to pull Charlotte away. They're like, no, go to the back. But the damage has been done. Because Rhea did enter the ring. And she can't beat the count of 10. So she gets eliminated by countout. Leaving Raw down to just Io Shirai and Asuka. NXT is at Kelsey Cook, Grace Parker, and Anna Jay, and SmackDown is at Bayley, Bianca Belair, Sonya Deville, and Candice LeRae. Kelsey is then eliminated by Asuka with like the Asuka strike, big kick to the head. She got the big upset shock elimination because I think spots like that are fun. But Asuka eliminates her, taps her out with the Asuka lock probably to make it 2 for Raw, 2 for NXT, and 4 for SmackDown. But that 4 quickly becomes 3 when Io Shirai pins Candice LeRae with the moonsault. 1, 2, 3 to make it 3 for SmackDown and 2 for the other 2. But then NXT, they face a big blow when their captain, Grace Parker, gets nailed with the KOD by Bianca Belair, SmackDown's captain. Levels it up. 1, 2, 3. 1 left for Team NXT. That's just Anna Jay. 2 for Team Raw and 3 for Team SmackDown. And Anna, the plucky babyface underdog that isn't Kelsey, is getting the crowd on her side. She manages to roll up Sonya Deville, 1, 2, 3. She's eliminated, but it's still just Anna against Asuka and Io with Raw, and Bayley and Bianca with SmackDown. And then Asuka and Bayley get into the ring. Asuka, Bayley, and Anna are illegal, and they're like, "Why don't we just eliminate this one, and then it'll be a one-on-one situation?" So she tries it. Asuka goes to pick up Anna Jay and eliminate her when Bayley rolls up Asuka, 1, 2, 3, and Asuka is eliminated. And Asuka's like, "What the fuck, bitch?" And Bayley's like, "Well, 2, 1, 1. Guess it's SmackDown dubbing up." So it's just Io Shirai of Raw, just Anna Jay of NXT, and Bayley and Bianca of SmackDown. But next to go, captain of Team SmackDown, Bianca Belair, eliminated by Io Shirai, moonsault, 1, 2, 3. So we're down to 1 apiece, Anna Jay of NXT, Io Shirai of Raw, and Bayley of SmackDown. And the crowd, they're getting behind Anna, because she's the plucky young babyface from NXT. And they're like, holy shit, look at her hang with like the best here in WWE. And she actually eliminates Bayley to eliminate SmackDown from the match entirely. After they had such a comfortable advantage. Bayley's, I guess she tried to be big brain, but it didn't work. So it's just Anna Jay and Io Shirai. Anna takes the fight to the former Raw Women's Champion for a while. But in the end, another moonsault puts her down 1, 2, 3. And in an 84, Team Raw picks up the victory. Their sole survivor, Io Shirai, gets a 95, an 89 for Rhea and Charlotte, a 58 for Grace, a 28 for Kelsey, 44 for Anna, 76 for both Candice and Bayley, and a 71 for Bianca. But with that victory, that means the first draft pick is in. And Raw, having their women's team victorious, they take a woman from SmackDown. Sonya Deville, the former SmackDown Women's Champion, is coming to Raw. And that's a big pick. She's going to have her eyes set on Becky. And everyone else on Raw, Rhea, Charlotte, Io, all of them better watch out. Cut to the parking lot. And Kayla's like, I'm here in the parking lot. I'm waiting for the arrival of The Rock. I've heard The Rock is going to be here to celebrate 25 years of his career. And then a limo pulls up. I'm like, oh, this must be him now. And then the window rolls down. The door opens. And out steps poor him into a big chorus of boo. He's like, Kayla, what are you welcoming me here to this show? He's like, actually, I was here waiting for... She's like, I don't care who you were waiting for, Kayla. Here's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, to go out there and smash that rookie Ronnie Hughes, to smash Finn Balor, and prove to the world that he's the tribal chief, not just of the entire WWE, but in WWE history. In the history of Roman Reigns' family, there's nobody better than my tribal chief. Now, is that all you were waiting for, Kayla? Because I'm here now. You can leave and go pretend to do journalism somewhere else. I didn't fuck. Truth has got 2 fucking title reigns. I'll probably give it to him after the show, actually, because that would make more sense with how I end this. But I didn't give him one on SmackDown. I haven't given him one here. He should have 2 more title reigns than he has in canon. But Robert Stone wakes up on the Sunday. Obviously, his alarm goes like, I won! I won! Because he thinks it's on Sunday. He thinks he won the 24/7 Island game. And Truth's like, oh no, dog, there's still another day left. And he's like, oh, right. Bang, 1, 2, 3. Truth wins the 24/7 title and begins the final night of 24/7 Island shenanigans as the champion. Then he runs outside. He's like, no, I gotta get home. Got my baby. I've got my baby. He's fighting off everybody. He's ducking fights from Path of the Dragon. I nearly forgot they were called then. Path of the Dragon. And Cameron Grimes tries to buy it off him. Robert Stone's chasing him. And then bang, someone's buried under the sand. He grabs Truth's leg. And then Dexter rises up out of the sand and just gives Truth that blanket stare. He's like, oh, what are you doing, dog? And then Jamie Noble sneaks up behind him, 1, 2, 3, to retain, or not to regain, the 24/7 title. And then Jamie Noble runs off with the belt. Why he wants a 24/7 title match, I don't know. Or mid-card title match, whatever. But we're in the Raw general manager's office. Eve and Shane are like, well, big day, Eve. And she's like, look, I know, I'm nervous. I didn't ask for any of this. Like, if I'd have known that they'd have been putting my job on the line, I would have declined, because I don't really like to make this all about myself. But we're here now, and we're ready to go. And then Tyler Breeze walks in. He's like, ha, 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 ha. I'm like, what do you want? He's like, it's good. It's like the good old days, isn't it? You know, me, you, and Shane in here together. Only difference is this time I'm the Intercontinental Champion. And Shane is still... Gosh, Shane. Are you proud of me? And Shane's like, what? He's like, are you proud of me becoming the Intercontinental Champion, Shane? And he's like, well, I really don't commend the way you went about it, but then bang, we hear a big bang outside the door. And then we hear a suspiciously Scottish sounding man screaming in pain. And they run outside and Drew's grabbing his knee. He's like, "Oh, you fucker." That was Irish. I don't know why I did that. And he's like, "Hey, look, it wasn't me this time. I was with you." And he's like, "I mean, you cheeky cunt, but I guess you're right. It wasn't you who attacked him." And he's like, "Oh, come on." And Drew's like, "No, I can fight. I've got that match to be in. And he's like, "Drew, no, we need to get you checked out because you were struggling on Raw. Someone's agitated this knee. And we need to get you to the medical office." Drew hobbles away. Eve hobbles with him. And Shane just sort of gives an awkward look to Tyler Breeze. And Breeze is like, "Well, I've got a match to go to, Shane, and I hope you're watching." And he walks off. And Shane's like, "What the fuck is the matter with that guy?" That match gets an 81. Bang. Holy shit. Obviously no special elimination order for this one. It's just a simple triple threat match. And NXT are actually on the board. Ari Sterling pins Drew Gulak with a 630 in 12:03 to score 1 for NXT. 63 for Sterling, 81 for Breeze, and 87 for Gulak. And that victory means NXT now get to take somebody from Raw or SmackDown, and they know who they want. They want somebody who we haven't seen in a while. He was getting ready to make his return to SmackDown, but that won't be happening now because the former WWE champion will be heading down to NXT. And that man, Smo Joe. So with Joe, I give him his big WWE title run, and that felt overdue because it was nice to give Joe the run. But like now he's dropped it, he probably would fall back into like the role he was in before. And in real life, he's like a player, coach, scout, or whatever down in NXT. So just send him down NXT. He can wrestle every now and again. He'll probably end up winning the belt, but he's down there and like he can be that coaching sort of role because. Yeah, he's had his nice little run. It was a nice little run for Joe, and I feel fulfilled being able to let him go off and train the younger generation. Now I've given him his moment. So Joe is the pick. We'll be going down to NXT. We then cut to Pierce's office, similar to the Shane and the Shane and Eve one earlier on, just in case because 2 of these GMs will be fired tonight. And basically, I'll get him on screen for the last time, and RJ's all sad, he's crying, and Pierce is just shaking his head, like, what? He's like, I love you, Adam. And he's like, okay. He's like, this is probably going to be our last night together, and I just want to let you know that I love you. And Pierce like, first of all, you've known me for 3 weeks. Okay, and second of all, I don't intend on losing tonight because I've got full faith in my brands. It sucks for Regal, it sucks for Eve. I love both of them, but I ain't about to lose. I want to keep my job. My guys want to get that $1 million bonus, and they want to get these draft picks on the brand. So I've got faith in my guys, RJ, and you need to have faith in me if you truly love me like you claim you do. He goes, I do, Adam, I do. I have faith in you. And he's like, okay then. Jamie Noble, he's gonna go run away and he's gonna go find Danger Zone's plane that he broke a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was. And then it's obviously still in tatters, and he's like, what the hell, man, why is this plane not working? He's like, well, I told you, well, you broke it, buddy, come on. But luckily for you, I do know how to drive a boat. And he goes to hop in a boat, and then as Jamie Noble goes to step into the boat, Danger Zone rolls him up 1, 2, 3 to win the belt. He gets into the boat, he's like, haha, so long guys, and he drives into the ocean with the 24/7 title. And then the gaggle of misfits sort of just chase up to the shoreline. He's like, hey, go get him. And then he's like, oh, Ken, he's gone. And Truth's like, nah, I can get him, dog. He gets into a boat of his own and he chases off after Danger Zone. And then Stone's like, well, I don't know how to fucking drive a boat, but I'll give it a go. And then Tozawa's like, I learned. Somebody taught me. And Tozawa gets in. And as does Grand Metalik, he knows how to drive a boat too. There appears to be somebody teaching these people how to drive a boat. 76. That's not too shabby. Yeah. DKE, Shotzi and Ember, and the Riot Squad for the the Women's Tag Team Championships. The Fire Pit retain. Ember pins Morgan with the Eclipse to score their SmackDown, their first point. So it's now 1 across all 3 brands. 1-1-1. Liv gets a 68, 72 for Ruby, 46 for Hams, 54 for Morgan, 70 for Shotzi, and a 76 for Ember. So that gets SmackDown their first draft pick of the night. And it's quite fitting that this is a women's tag team match, so if there was a women's tag team on one of the brands that they'd want to take, it'd probably be the best and most fitting time to take them now. Raw's ace, the woman who won the first match for Raw, Io Shirai, along with her best friend Kairi Sane, are heading over to SmackDown in what is a big shake-up in the women's division. Danger Zone's he's driving his boat and he looks behind him, he sees Truth. One of them would definitely be on a jet ski, actually. I'd probably say that would be Stone. And Stone's on his jet ski, Tozawa, Truth and Metallica chasing after him in their boat. And they don't know what they're doing, they're sort of veering all over the place, like zigzagging across. And Danger Zone just turns around, he puts his sunglasses on, he's like, "It appears we've begun the chase." And then from behind him, from one of the seats we hear, he goes, "Did somebody say?" And then he sits up. He's like, "Andre Chase?" And he's like, "What? No." And he's like, "I feel like I can really teach you how to drive this boat better, Danger Zone." He's like, "No, stop talking, get off me." And he fights it off him, and Andre Chase tries to teach him how to drive the boat. And he steals the 24/7 title, 1, 2, 3. But he ends up veering the boat back towards shore. And then all the other boats come chasing after him. They're just a big schmoz of boats. They all sort of crash into each other and break. And Chase has the belt. And everyone else is just sort of stranded on the shore with no way to get home. And we go from that to a hype package for the world champions. Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, Ronnie Hughes. I actually don't know how Ronnie's going to do. I'm actually intrigued. 82, that's fine. He got 69, Roman got a 92, and 85 for Finn Balor. Again, there probably isn't much fucking anticipation here. Roman, he's the tribal chief for a reason. He's smashing, he's stacking everybody. And he's guillotine choking and making Ronnie Hughes pass out in 2025. He actually would put up a fight trying to escape, because just like Anna Jay earlier on, to get her really over, like, as a plucky underdog, that would be Ronnie Hughes' role, despite him being a big football guy and Balor being a cruiserweight, but he's a veteran, Ronnie's a rookie. We would have him try and power out of the guillotine, but in the end he just collapses, and he passes out, and the big dog has won. Which now entitles SmackDown to another pick. And they're picking another man who hasn't really been seen. Since, it's actually been about 3 months since I've seen him. And that's Raw's... he didn't put a segment in. Aleister Black is the one coming to SmackDown. So, you in the comments, you know who you are. You can stop asking for him now, because he's on his way back. He's coming to SmackDown. Anyway, Regal is in like a makeshift little office, and this is heartfelt for him. He's sort of looking all upset because he's got his little brass knuckles next to him, and this could be the end of William Regal's run as the NXT general manager. And Tommaso Ciampa, the captain of Team NXT, walks in. It's like, "Mr. Regal, I just want to say we're going to give our all for you in this main event tonight. And honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure having you run NXT for nearly a decade now, and if this is your last night here on the brand, I just wanted to come as one of the NXT elder statesmen and tell you that we all appreciate it and we all love you, Mr. Regal, and we're going to give it our all." Then Johnny walks in, and he's like, "Yeah, what he said." It's like, I know I'm on SmackDown, but after everything I did in NXT and everything you did to help me get there, I thought I would come by just in case and say my thanks for everything, Regal. And yeah. And he sort of just looks at Ciampa all awkward, gives him a nice little awkward smile, nods his little head, he's like, "You right?" And Ciampa's like, yeah, I'm alright. And they both awkwardly leave, and Regal just sort of stares blankly like in deep thought, when Hams lightens the mood up, she runs in and gives Regal a big hug, like, Mr. Regal. And he's like, oh right, yes, I did want to speak to you, yes, you two, you young ladies. Well, considering tonight may end up being my last night of NXT, I really want to make sure that I leave a memorable mark on the brand. And that's going to happen starting Tuesday, because your performances tonight really, really impressed me, and there's a lot of future along with you, Toxic Attraction, Anna Jay and Kelsey Cook, Persia Pirotta and Emma. We're going to officially birth the NXT Women's Tag Team titles as Regal's possible swan song act as the NXT General Manager. Because I haven't got them in the save yet, because I signed it before they existed. This felt like a nice time to bring him in, a nice reason, and him just announcing that DK will be in the tournament to crown the first champions. And then they both give him a hug, like, Regal. It's like, well, we can sit back now and enjoy the Rock celebration later on tonight. And Morgan's eyes widen, and she's like, The Rock's gonna be here? It's like, yeah, this is 25 years of The Rock. He's like, you know, you could do one more favour for me. And he's like, what's that? And I'm like, and she's like, could you point me in the direction of The Rock's locker room? And he's like, Morgan, what are you planning here, sunshine? It's like, nothing, I just want to see it, smell it, sort of look at it, because he's the goddamn Rock, you know? It's like, I don't know, I think it was over that way. And she's like, thank you so much, Mr. Regal. And Hams just sort of awkwardly smiles at him as she gets dragged off. All help seems lost. The gaggle of Midcard is staring at just a crashed shit heap of just broken vehicles. Danger Zone's plane that you can't get started. Just all the boats and the jet skis that just got smashed up because Andre Chase thought he heard his name. And he's like, well, everybody, he steps up, he's got the belt over his shoulder. He's like, well, everybody, what you're looking at here is a true teachable moment. And what is that lesson? Not to rush into things. Because look at what we've caused. And then, like, in the background behind him, almost like a sort of like fucking some Doctor Strange bullshit, but like it's dark smoke. Like a little circle, like a little portal starts forming. And everyone's like, what the fuck is that behind him? And then a dark, ominous figure steps out of the portal. There's suspenseful music. And it goes all dark and everybody sort of looks. We get comical zooms in everybody's shocked face. And Andre Chase sort of walks up to it. And he's got the belt. He's like, who are you? The figure, he takes his hood down. He looks up at the camera. I'm going to have to try this. And he's like, hello. Hello, everybody. Danhausen here. And Andre Chase is like, excuse me, who are you? Like, hello, it is me, Danhausen. And I'm here to take that championship and get a shot at the North American title housing on NXT next week. And he's like, well, what is this? How did you do that? And then Danhausen rolls Andre Chase up 1, 2, 3 to take the 24/7 title. He's like, ha. Oh yes, very nice, very evil. Danhausen is the 24/7 champion, and he's gonna toodle home back to the New England area and cash this baby in. Danhausen is the champion, woohoo. And he goes back through the dark portal and sort of just disappears. And all the other mid-carders sort of look at it like, well, fuck. So I have had Danhausen for like a month. And I signed him specifically knowing that he was going to be involved in this. And he's here because, like, even if his ceiling is going to end up being, if he ever gets caught up eventually, even if his ceiling is going to end up being 24/7 title, whatever. It's good fun. 81. The Tag Team Champion Triple Threat match. The Grizzled Young... I'm not doing the... After doing the Danhausen voice, I'm not doing the Scouse accent. The Grizzled Young Veterans score the victory. They pin Ricochet to earn them the shot. Well, not the shot, but to, I think, even it up. It's 2 for NXT, 1 for Raw, 2 for SmackDown currently, yeah. And then 87 for Bronson Reed, 94 for Ricochet, 80 for AJ, 72 for Omos, 64 for Zach Gibson, and a 63 for James Drake. But NXT, they got their chance to take a pick of anybody. And they're like, well, since Mr. Regal just announced the birth of the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships, it's important that we actually have enough people to fill out that division. So while this may seem like a wild card pick in the grand scheme of things, taking the Iconics to NXT seems logical at this point. So the Iconics are on their way back to NXT. After they had a brief falling out earlier this year, like 2 months ago, because of the random feud generator, I knew I wasn't going to break them up. And like I was trying to find a way to reintroduce them, and them doing a Naomi, I guess, and going to NXT, becoming back improved, would do them the world of good, especially now they've got the belts down there. So I just couldn't justify sending the Iconics down while they didn't have tag titles, but now they do. It makes a logical reason why they'd pick them. I didn't want to pick the Iconics because like it seemed silly if NXT could pick anybody on the roster, why they would pick the Iconics randomly. But if they've got new belts to try and get a division going for, then it makes sense. Sort of builds them up, builds the belts up and everything. Anyway, Danhausen, he arrives at the arena. He's like, oh yes, hello. Danhausen's here and he's coming to cash in the championship to win a shot of the title. And he interacts with a gaggle of mid-carders that weren't on the island. He sees Rick Boogs and Shinsuke shredding. He's like, Shinsuke, let's rock. And he's like, oh, hello, Boogshausen. Very, very evil, nice, very evil song, Danhausen. Danhausen likes that song. And he's like, oh, thank you. And then Tony D'Andre's like, hey, what's up, Gabagool? He's like, hey, I want to buy that championship off you. How much is it selling it for? And he's like, Danhausen's not selling his precious trophy. He wants to cash this in for the title shot, Tony. Come on. And Tony's like, God, Gabagool, forget about it. And he walks off. And then he walks past Mansoor and Dio. And Manny's like excitedly tapping Dio Madden on the shoulder. He's like, what? He's like, it's Danhausen. It's like, hello, yes, it's me, Danhausen, I'm here. Hello. And he's like, hello, Danhausen. Hello, I love you. And then Mackie walks up to him and he's like, and then she walks off and Danhausen just looks at him all weird and like, okay, that was very weird, Hausen, but Danhausen is very evil and he can't judge you. And then he knocks on the door for the office and he's going to go hand the 24/7 title in to earn himself a shot at the North American title when he opens the door and super kick from a rogue flying foot. And then the person steps out. I mean, it seems Dolph Ziggler. And Ziggler pins Danhausen to win the 24/7 title. And he walks into the office to hand it in. Ziggler, of course, lost his WWE career back at SummerSlam. That's where he's been, and he's shown up at Survivor Series to take the 24/7 title. We then get a quick. Eve is in the medical room with Drew, and she's like, can he compete? And the medical team just sort of look at her and go, just shake their head and go, no. And she's like, fuck, doodle doo. She opens the door, and then Shane and the rest of Team Raw are just waiting out there, like, well, and she's like, negative. And I'm like, like, this is bullshit. Need to find out who did this, because this is some bullshit right now. And he's like, well, I'll tell you what's going to happen. Okay. Edge, you're the captain. And we need to work together to find a final member of Team Raw. Because we're not going out there with just 4 of us. And, yeah. So let's get looking because my job's on the fucking line here. And you get $1 million each if you win. So, chop, let's make it sharpish. Hype segment for the women's triple threat match. Yeah. I feel like this, in terms of build, has been built higher than the men's one. That's why I put it higher on the card. And there was another reason that you'll see in a minute why the men's triple threat match didn't main event. Yeah, so the hype video, Becky, Sasha, and Emma. No Persia, no Indy, no Mickey, no Dana, no Kaylee Ray, no Nikki Cross. Just all 3 of them singles. Bang! 86. Floating kneecap. That doesn't sound too bad. It's the first injury I've got, and it doesn't sound too bad. And it was given to Becky, who, in 17 minutes and 14 seconds, levels things up for Team Raw. She pins Sasha with the manhandle slam. 96 for Becky, 90 for Sasha, 60 for Emma. Yeah, so a lot of knee-based injuries to Raw's top people, but floating kneecap doesn't... It might keep her out, but it doesn't sound like something that's going to fuck up my plans. So, that could age poorly. I've probably written some sarcastic comment on the screen right now if it has aged poorly, but yeah, if she's out for like a week, that's fine, but that doesn't sound like something that's going to keep her out for about 8 years, so... But SmackDown, Raw gets a pick from that. And Raw is going to try and change up the dichotomy of the main event. Because Cesaro's coming to Raw. And Cesaro is currently a member of Team SmackDown in the main event. So, how will that factor into things? Here we go. We get a segment of like Morgan and Hams appearing around the corner. She's like, Hammy, I found it. And she's like sneaks up to a locker room door. You see it's the Rock's locker room. And she's like, and Hams comes up to her. She's like, she taps her on the shoulder and she gets startled. Because of course she's tense because the Rock's inside that room. She's like, you gonna knock, friend? And Morgan's like, yes, just sure. She like does her hair, like puts fucking perfume on or whatever. And then we hear a ruckus coming from down the hallway. And they're like, shoot, hide. They run back around the corner. And it's Roman and Kiko's like, you know, I smashed that rookie Ronnie Hughes. I smashed Finn Balor. I'm the tribal chief. I proved to the world tonight, Oos, that ain't no one mess with the bloodline. And nobody messes with the tribal chief. And I'm the head of the whole goddamn table. And the whole family should be watching and they'll be proud. And like he tries to like open the door as he's talking. He's looking at him and he's just ranting about how good he is. And he's like, he starts fiddling with the fucking lock. Or the handle and like tries to aggressively open the handle. He's still looking at him and just ranting. He's like, wise man. He's like, yes, my tribal chief. He's like, why is my locker room door not opening? And Heyman looks at the door. He does his big shocked Paul Heyman expression. And he's like, my tribal chief? He's like, what? He's like, that's not your locker room tonight. And Roman's like, what do you mean it's... Then he slowly turns around with a scowl on his face and he sees the Rock's nameplate on the locker room door. And camera pans back around to a big angry Roman face. And he just walks off. And Heyman's like, where are you going, my tribal chief? And Fatu, Uso and Heyman follow him. And then I don't want to put more DKE comedy at the end of that segment. So they probably just run off and hid away after trying to stalk the Rock. But it was a nice easy way to plant the seeds where we knew it was the Rock's locker room because Morgan was trying to break in but Roman didn't. That was the whole point of that. I'm sure you can work that out because you're not dumb. Team SmackDown are kind of promo for the match. And Orton is just glaring a hole through Cesaro. And Cesaro's just giving him a shit-eating grin. And he's like, I suppose this was all part of your grand plan, huh? And Cesaro's like, listen. So this may be my last match on SmackDown. I'm off to Raw, because Raw, I guess, valued me more than any of you four. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to go out there and lose on purpose, because SmackDown did the world for me while I was here. And I've got a loyalty to SmackDown. I've got a loyalty to Adam Pearce. I need to help. I'm going to help this brand. It's 2 for 2 tonight. And I'm going to go out there. And I'm going to forget that I'm going to Raw tomorrow night. I'm going to compete like I am SmackDown's savior. And I am SmackDown's hero. Because this show did mean the world to me while I was here. And I owe it to Pearce. I owe it to everybody on SmackDown to fight harder than ever to secure the victory tonight. And Randy's like, you fucking better. And then he goes out for the ring for the entrances. We then get the entrance of Team NXT. Ciampa, Jimmy Shane, Carmelo Hayes, Marcel Bartel, and Braun Breaker. Then we get the first 4 entrances of Team Raw. And E is watching on in Gorilla every single time. It pans to her during every single entrance. She's just nervously looking on at the telly in Gorilla. She's like, oh fuck, where's Shane, oh fuck. And then during the last entrance, Shane sort of pops up and he's like, and he's like, did you find anybody? And Shane's like, okay, don't freak out. She's like, what? She's like, no. He's like, what the fuck? What do you mean? He's like, no, I said don't freak out. Listen. Takes his suit jacket off. I'm going in. And he's like, what do you mean you're going in? He's like, we can't find anybody else. I'll be the 5th guy. I'll fight for Raw. Here comes the money. And Shane goes out. So Shane takes the spot on the team. And Eve's like, oh god, Shane, please don't let me down. Then the match itself gets an 81. We've got elimination order for this one as well. It's like the first match. I just need to quickly edit the name Drew McIntyre to Shane McMahon really quick on the sheet. There we go. So the first wrestler to be eliminated from the match. Team SmackDown loses a guy first. Pete Dunne pins Kevin Owens with the bitter end. 1, 2, 3. To make it 5-5-4. Second to be eliminated. It says Drew McIntyre. I'm sorry, Jimmy. It says Drew McIntyre on my Excel document, but I've now got to change that. So Shane McMahon goes coast to coast on No Shame Jimmy Shane and pins him to make it 5 to Raw, 4 to SmackDown, and 4 to NXT. But then it's evened up 4 apiece because Carmelo Hayes scores the pin over Pete Dunne. So it's now 4 on each team. Next to be eliminated is Marcel Bartel. He gets eliminated by Murphy's Law from Buddy Murphy. Then Buddy Murphy is dropped with Willow's Bell by Ciampa to make it 4 for Raw, 3 for NXT, and 3 for SmackDown. Cesaro's in the ring. He's firing away on Jeff. And we'll say Carmelo. And Cesaro goes for the big swing. Jeff Hardy sort of counters it. Bang. Twist of fate. Swanton bomb. Cesaro's been eliminated. So it's 2. It's just Big E and Randy Orton left for Team SmackDown. And Randy gets in the ring. He sort of shakes his head like, what the fuck, bro? Thought you were fighting for the fucking death for this team. You're a fucking loser. Get out of my ring. And then Randy's dropped by a twist of fate by Jeff Hardy. And Jeff goes back up for the top rope. He takes the shirt off, throws the shirt into the crowd. He's about to eliminate Mr. Survivor Series, SmackDown's team captain. The Fiend is just watching on, like, from the Titantron. There's just a pic of the Fiend just glaring a hole through Jeff Hardy. And he gets distracted, and then the lights flicker on and off again, and the Fiend is gone. And Jeff's sort of still looking at the Titantron. He's all startled. He's like, well, fuck. He dives off the top rope. Bang! RKO. 1, 2, 3. Jeff Hardy's been eliminated to make it 2 for SmackDown, 3 for Raw, 3 for NXT. Next to go, goddamn Shane McMahon. He gets pinned by a Braun Breaker with the big Gorilla Press Power Slam to make it 3 for NXT and 2 for Raw and 2 for SmackDown. But then the honours are evened up yet again when NXT's captain, Carmelo's NXT's captain Tommaso Ciampa dropped with a big ending. 1, 2, 3. It's 2 apiece. It's Big E and Randy, it's Edge and Keith, and it's Melo and Braun. Make that 1 for SmackDown because Big Keith bangs Big E with a Spirit Bomb. 1, 2, 3. Then, in another impressive feat of strength, Braun Breaker, he gets the Anna Jay role in this match of being the young NXT guy who's getting all the cool underdog, the crowd behind him. Hoists Keith Lee up for the Gorilla Press Power Slam. Bang! The ground shakes as Big Keith smacks onto the floor. 1, 2, 3. That's the former World Heavyweight Champion gone. So we now have Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker of NXT, who are in the ring, both of them. They're sort of teaming up. And then in one corner is Randy Orton. And in the other corner, Edge. And Edge sort of gives Randy a weird look because in my world, if you remember this far back. We never continued Edge and Randy after Mania. And Randy sort of came back, he joined the church, and then he was a worm in the church and helped Edge win at SummerSlam, and then teamed with him against Murphy and Gargano. And then they sort of just went off and did their own thing. So they're still officially on good terms, I guess. And Edge sort of gives Randy a look. Randy looks back across at Edge, and then looks at the two NXT guys staring him down. They both just give a shrug, and bang, Rated RKO is having another temporary reunion here, fighting off the two NXT guys. Boom, spear to Carmelo Hayes. 1, 2, 3. We're down to 1v1v1. Braun Breaker, Edge, and Randy Orton. And again, Rated RKO take a look at Braun. He's all fired up. He's taking the straps down at this point. He's going, come on, oh, 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 oh. The crowd's cheering him on. And Edge goes for a spear on him. Oh, no, Edge, sorry. Randy Orton goes for an RKO on him. Braun catches him. Boom, shoves him against the ropes. He rebounds off the ropes, hoists him up, gorilla press. He goes for the gorilla press power slam, but he turns around with Orton up high. Spear. 1, 2, 3. Braun Breaker is eliminated. We're down to Edge and Randy Orton. They give each other a smile. Edge, he's just pinned Braun Breaker. He gets up on the floor. He looks at Randy. Randy looks at him and he's like, who'd have thought?
Not me.
Mr. Survivor Series, Randy Orton and Edge. And they going at it. Randy Orton and Edge like only they can. And in the end, Edge drops Randy with an execution, backs into the corner. He calls Randy to his feet for a spear, charges at him, plucked out of thin air, RKO. 1, 2, 3. Randy Orton wins again at Survivor Series. SmackDown wins again at Survivor Series. And Adam Pearce keeps his job. Randy Orton earns $1 million. And SmackDown earn a draft pick of their choice. And they choose the man who just sustained a hernia. Braun Breaker is coming to SmackDown. And with it, my plans go out the window, apparently, because he's injured. So, I guess fuck me.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
The Rock is here. He comes out, he's got his t-shirt on, he gets his arm in the front of the camera and he points out the goosebumps on his arms, like, oh, goosebumps, bruh. And he gets into the ring. Rocky, Rocky, Rocky. A good minute or so of Rocky chants before he can finally say his first word. And of course that first word is... Finally. The Rock has come back to New England. Finally, The Rock has come back to Survivor Series. Finally, The Rock has come back home. And then we get the usual... we're giving him 20 minutes just to go out there and speak. Because it's The Rock, and that's how you book Rock segments. He goes out there, he says shit about cookie puss and fucking whales' vaginas and unicorn pussies and shit. It gets laughed at. They chant it. That's what Rock does. That's a The Rock promo. He talks about only having $7 in his pocket. And all The Rock's greatest hits. The crowd still laps up. And he's like... when he gets out, he's like, hey, got finally time for one more of my greatest hits. Thank you all for 25 years. This will always be my home. I don't care. The Rock, he's never truly gone. He's here in spirit every single day. And you need to remember that because The Rock believes in all of you. If you smell what The Rock is... Roman Reigns saunters out to the ring with Fatu and no, probably wouldn't have Fatu in the Uso, just Roman Reigns and Heyman, and he sort of just gets in the ring. Heyman's holding the WWE title, and Roman just sort of gives him a scowl, and The Rock sort of gives that confused The Rock face, like, what the fuck you doing, bruh? When bang, he's jumped from behind by Jimmy Uso and Jacob Fatu. Roman's calling the shots, he's ordering the beatdown. Uso stands him up, Fatu gives the big super kick, and then Jimmy hits the big diving splash. And then finally, Roman's getting his own hands there. He's like, pick him up! And they pick The Rock up. Ooh, spear. The Rock's been laid out. And Roman Reigns goes to leave. He stops when he's halfway out of the apron. He sort of looks at the floor and he looks back at The Rock and he's like, orders Jimmy and Jacob. He's like, wise man. He's like, yes, my tribal chief. He's like, pull it up. Obviously calling for the mat at ringside to be pulled up, exposing the bare concrete. And The Rock has been planted onto the concrete at ringside by the tribal chief. It's like, you think you're better than me, huh? You think you're the head of this? I'm the head of the table. I'm the tribal chief. And I'm better than you, Dwayne. And he holds the title up. The Rock is being checked on by doctors. And his homecoming has been ruined by his own cousin to end the show. 96, because I bought an... this is gonna sound cheesy. Like, I bought the A-list celebrity because The Rock was on the show. And, like, there don't come any more A-lists than The Rock. Come on. Like, so... Bleh. Anyway, I, personally, don't want to sway your opinion. This might be one of my favourite shows I've ever booked. Like, at the start, when I first started the build-up to Survivor Series, the first week, I was like, oh, this is going to be such a fucking drag. This month was a fucking blast, I tell you. And it set up a lot of stuff for the next few months that are going to keep me interested. And we've only just really hit the highs here. And at episode 200, we're 200 episodes in, and I'm saying I'm only just feeling like I'm only just getting started. That's odd. And I should have to actually take the time to reflect on all that, because it's not been a great 2 months or so for me, as obviously you'll know if you watch the monthly mental health updates I do. Like, a lot of stress, a lot of shit's happened, and just to know that I've done 200 episodes of me talking into a fucking screen, a text-based wrestling simulating game. There's just pictures and words on the screen. I'm talking over it, and like, I'm on 200 episodes, and like 440 people enjoy it, and like I don't get comments on every single episode. I don't expect to, but the odd comments always telling me, oh, we love it, and telling me that like they enjoy it and that it helps cheer them up if they're feeling down. Like, didn't expect this to be how this episode ended, but obviously just saying 200 episodes out loud really just got to me. Like, all I'm doing is literally sat here right now at my desk in my bedroom, fucking shit just all over the floor, fucking just a bunch of fucking curtains have fallen off the wall. And all I'm doing is sitting here on a fucking laptop, talking to a bunch of words and pictures of wrestlers on a screen. And like, people have told me that it helps them feel better, and stuff like that. It feels weird, like, but now, because I felt guilty when I was away for a month, because I was burnt out from TEW, and now I'm back enjoying it myself. It's nice to know that other people still are, so now more than ever, it matters more than the 96 of what you thought of the show. You might think the show was a 3 out of 100. That matters more than what the game has to say here. And yeah, I think I'm done with all that, so I'll see you next time for episode 201. Fucking 201. We'll be booking Raw on the first Raw on the road to the second annual High Voltage pay-per-view. See you then.